Yeah.
Yes.
Well, first, thank her for the shout out on Sunrise.
Well, I think you guys have really inspired her. I mean, that's the
That's
activist in her. I mean, she says that she got into politics because she opposed the Vietnam War, and she knew that it wasn't good enough just to oppose it, that you had to take action. So that's her story about why she got into the legal profession. So when there's a group like all of you who are organized and articulate and determined and specific, that she loves that. Yeah. So,
Well, please tell her I spewed my coffee when I heard her refer to at least me as an activist. Because I think of myself as a writer and a mom, and but I've never really called myself an activist before.
Add that to the
You are
resume. Yeah. So have you been following her on social media?
She's on fire.
Hashtag resist. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah. I thought of where's my friend with the hat who was the resistor.
Oh, the resistors, your
Yeah.
friend.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, very
I
good.
don't have my hat today, but.
Okay, very good. Yeah.
We rotate so no one gets fatigued. So lots of people behind us.
Well, yeah, and that's what the senator had tweeted about. Yeah, what did she call it? Patient urgency.
Oh.
That one I missed. I'll have to go back and find that.
Yeah, so to kind of like
good.
not burn out,
Yep.
but just to be focused and patient, because it does take time, but to continue on. So yeah, I do wish that she could meet with you, and you know, Alan apologizes, he's on the neighbor island today, but I have my notes from last week, and
Great.
I'll respond to those questions that you had. Unless there's something new that you wanted me to take back.
We're going to hit
because-
on a couple of things, but why don't you go through last week's comments first, and anything you want to share?
Well, just for those who I haven't met, I am not a legislative aide. I'm a constituent services manager. I'm a caseworker. I work on helping individuals navigate through a federal agency. So that's what I do. So if I may not have the answers to the questions you can ask, but I'm a good note taker, and I'll get back to you. So Alan is your point of contact. Alan Yamamoto is the senator's state director. So he couldn't be here today, but if you folks will be here next week, then hopefully he will be here. If not, I will. And then hopefully we can arrange a time for the senator to meet with you. We have our VTC, or maybe a town hall. I know we were just thinking of ways to engage, because she would like to.
Well, we would love that. And one of the things we're going to ask today, and we're going to ask every week until April, is to schedule some sort of town hall meeting in April while she's back. We know schedules are tough and it's complicated, so. And we just heard from Malia that Senator Schatz is planning to do that. One on the Big Island and one here in Honolulu. So we're hoping that she will follow suit.
A teletown hall or in person?
An in-person one.
Yeah, in person.
Since she'll be back in April, I assume,
yeah,
unless she's doing a fact-finding trip somewhere. I assume she'll be home in April.
Okay.
And I think you want to talk about.
Yeah, so another member of our group who's been working with the Women's March organization nationally to do the huddles that they've been organizing, was thinking that she may also, depending on the various town halls that might be organized by the members of Congress already, she's been meeting with a group at St. Mary's in Moilili, and that she might be able to organize an event there that all the members of Congress could be invited to. But I think she's just starting to think about that, and we were sort of waiting to see as well whether individual members of Congress would be setting up their own town halls too.
Okay.
As I'm sure you know from watching the news last week, that is one of the tactics that resistance groups are doing, is throwing their own town halls and inviting the members to come.
Yeah, that's helpful. Yeah.
And if the members don't come, obviously, and there were some really creative things done around the country. I mean, there was one group followed SNL's lead and had a woman do the stand-in for the male congressman and took questions and answered them all ridiculously. Another group had a cutout of the congressman sitting on stage, and then of course he never answered questions. He was just silent. So, but we don't want that happening with our delegation. We want our delegation to happen.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. Okay.
Did you have other stuff you wanted to share from last week?
Well, I will get back from last week's notes. Let's see. So you had asked about the investigations on Russian influence and about and removing Bannon from the National Security Council, and so Senator is definitely along those lines. I don't have specifics on that. You also asked, recommended that she share how she can help individuals who are afraid to seek help with their immigration status. And so she met with local immigration attorneys and civil rights organizations last week to hear the stories. What are people going through right now, and how can we help? So there was the joint statement with those local organizations in response to the executive orders. And so she is working on a letter to oppose that and circulating that as we speak. The other point was that the group supports sanctuary cities and states, and Senator Hirono does as well. She's a co-sponsor of 3 bills to eliminate the executive order that seeks to bar federal funding to sanctuary cities and makes more immigrants priorities for removal. The other bill would allow state and local governments to enter into agreements to enforce federal immigration. And the last one is one of Senator Booker's acts, the Protect American Families Act, and that would prohibit the federal government from instituting an immigration-related registry program based on religion, race, gender, all of those categories. So she is a co-sponsor for those 3 bills. Let's see.
Isn't it chilling to hear registry programs talked about in this country?
Yeah.
And just stop and think about that for a second. Registry programs.
Yep.
Absolutely. I also know that locally, J20 is continuing to work towards sanctuary city, sanctuary state, and I believe with Carl Rhodes and some of the other, Neiman, do you remember who
Like
else?
Nandita's group?
Yeah,
I don't
well,
remember their name.
okay, but working with a few local legislators to introduce a resolution that will come locally. So I know that they will be reaching out to Senator Hirono and Senator Schatz for more direct support on that.
Okay, good. As in regards to supporting ACA, let's see, Senator met with college and high school students last week. It was organized by Planned Parenthood. She heard their stories. She is opposed to Senate resolution on the Republican budget that would, opposed Senate Resolution 3, the Republican budget resolution that was passed in order to establish a procedural fast track for Obamacare repeal. Our senator is the only current member of the Hawaii delegation who voted in 2009 to pass ACA. She was the only one in office at that time. So she labored long and hard about, fighting that, and I remember that. So she doesn't want to see anything taken away. I mean, there are things that need to be corrected. Everyone agrees to that, but the chaos that it's already causing and the fear. So
I think there are a lot, that's one of our issues today was ACA. There are a lot of people in this room that depend on
absolutely
healthcare reform. And I heard that, I was with a colleague this morning who was talking about the AARP town hall last Friday with Colleen, and a man stood up and said, I have diabetes, and I get a vial of insulin once a month, and it started, when I first started getting it, it was $27. He said, now my monthly supply is $900. He said, my Social Security check is $1,000.
Oh my goodness.
He said, so I can either not eat and die of hunger, or I can eat and not take insulin and die of diabetes. But either way is a death sentence. I thought that was a pretty powerful story.
Yeah. And so in your work, if you have specific stories like that, if you want to email Alan or email me, and we'll collect it, because that helps the senator when she's on the floor supporting legislation. That's what's most helpful, because it is impactful. Yeah.
You will get emails.
Thank you.
You've hit on a couple of our things. We definitely are pushing for town halls, and we'll invite her to ours, but hopefully she will schedule some as well. And on a related note, if ever she wants to do a meeting with this group, we would love that. And we're happy to come in and do a video chat with her if that's easier.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
Tuesdays at noon
Would
is
it be
sort of our
a goodbye?
time.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
I'm not a fan of telecalls
Yeah.
because it literally is you have the capacity to mute the people you don't wanna talk to,
Mhm.
and I'm not a fan of that. But a video conference, I think we would all be down with that. And while Tuesday at noon is sort of our gig,
Yep.
when the senator calls the shots, we can adjust.
Okay.
So if she has a better time, we will get people here.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
One of the things we want to hit on today is Trump's repeal of the Obama executive order on transgender bathroom identity.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things going around Facebook is it has nothing to do with bathrooms, just like it had nothing to do with water fountains.
Yeah.
Yeah. We all in this room have transgender friends, family, and I was telling the story to Malia earlier about a friend of mine whose child announced at Iolani recently that he would be going by male pronouns. And he was scared when he went in that morning. He knew he was going to do this. He was scared. He did it, and he reported to Mom. It was a little awkward at first, and then the teacher said, "Thank goodness, now we have a second boy in the room."
Bless her.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the community's there.
Mm-hmm.
You want to add to that? I know you teach at UH.
Sure, I teach at UH. I have trans students at UH. I went to a women's college. I have numerous friends and loved ones in my life who are trans, and it's just, I mean, this is something that encompasses ACA as well, because a lot of, especially trans people, gender nonconforming people, other people who are marginalized for whatever reason, are very frightened about what will happen if they lose healthcare coverage and protections, and especially if, and then that of course connects to the religious freedom bills that are aimed at allowing people to just refuse to treat people for whatever reason or provide them with service. And so I think, yeah, just as all of us have been saying in our visits so far, that what Trump is continuing to do is just target marginalized groups over and over and over. And so when we stand up for immigrants, we're also going to stand up for people who are transgender, people who are gender nonconforming, anyone who he's coming for, we're here for.
Awesome.
So we hope that the senator will say the same as loudly and frequently as she can.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know on that I could say yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
great, thank you.
Senator is, I think at her core, I mean, she's a Buddhist,
Mm-hmm.
and at that core, it means that she's respectful of others,
Sure.
regardless
Yeah.
of what their situation is. It may not be her situation, but
Mhm.
she's going to be respectful of that person and where they are. So,
Yeah, we appreciate that.
And we also recognize that perhaps at that core as well, she's not one, because she is so respectful, I know it's hard for her sometimes to step up and be loud and be forceful. And I know she's starting to do more of that,
Yeah,
and we
yeah.
appreciate it, and we're gonna push her to do more.
that's good.
Because she is well respected. She was there when ACA passed, and you know, her voice can carry far in Washington. And I know
appreciate
she's-
that, yeah.
And I know she's respected across the aisle, but we need to cash in some of that respect, you know, and bring some Republicans. I don't know if you said it down here or upstairs,
Yeah.
but we need to bring some Republicans on board with us too, because we
Yeah.
can't.
And she always does try to do that. She always, on all of her bills, she tries to be partisan, so she's trying, yeah.
So if she could please continue to build those relationships, because we are
Yeah.
outnumbered in Laos and Senate right now, so we need to reach out and,
Yep.
you know, recruit
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Even if it's on issue specific and not, you know, larger picture things, but on
Mhm.
anything that we can, we really need to reach out to our brothers and sisters on the other side of the fence.
Absolutely, yeah.
Nima
And
and Paul both had a great point earlier when we were in Senator Schatz's office too, that particularly if she recognizes that there are specific members of Congress on the Republican side who are open to
Yeah.
working on particular issues,
Oh, yeah.
if that information can be provided to us, and we can contact our family members and friends in those states and have them
Okay.
be mobilizing them to call, if basically anywhere we know there's an opening. I mean, I'm sure you guys have noticed that as soon as people's phone numbers go up and a post starts circulating on Facebook, that there are going to be some full voicemail boxes. And so I think what a lot of people are hoping is just to be directed toward people where it's actually going to be useful, and not Mitch McConnell staffers who are just like, screw you, screw you, screw you. I mean, just there have been a lot of negative responses to people. I was hearing from people who are calling Marco Rubio's office and getting hung up on, things like that. Yeah. So the more we know about who is actually listening,
Yeah.
Focus our energy.
would be very helpful.
I think it's also, I mean, we all know this living in Hawaii, there's a certain panache that comes with being from Hawaii. I know when I've called other offices, like, really, you're calling me from Hawaii?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
It's not
She-
unicorn land?
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Exactly.
She will be recognized for that,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
that her people back home
Oh,
are
yeah,
calling.
chocolate macadamia nuts go far.
Yeah. And when Republican members from the South start getting phone calls
Yeah.
all the way from Hawaii,
Yep.
they're gonna know who made that happen.
Well, she also, I mean, this is getting off the subject, but she started the Hawaii on the Hill. So there were 50 Hawaii businesses that went up to Congress, and different
great.
states do that.
Yeah.
But it was huge, so Hawaii is like the biggest one because everyone wants to go. Everyone gets a lei, everyone gets spam musubi. Senator Schumer is the first in line for the spam musubi.
That's so funny.
But it helps, I
Yeah.
mean, it breaks the ice, and so she has been able to develop other relationships through that.
Great.
So yeah.
Well, if she can send up the flag that, hey, I've got Zach Cochran in Mississippi talking to me maybe about ACA. I'm from Mississippi. I grew up there. He gave me my first job.
Ah.
You know, I'm not alone. There are a lot of us that have those kinds of ties
Yeah.
all over the country,
Okay.
and aunties and uncles and parents and brothers
Yeah.
and sisters living all over the country.
We should probably try to wrap up this one. So
Yeah.
we
Okay.
have time.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about the budget? You brought that up upstairs. I think that's
Well, I brought
important.
it up in the other office because I heard in the news that he wanted to increase the defense budget by $54 billion.
Yes.
And what was the lady we talked to, Malia, said that there weren't any details, so that it was
Yeah.
hard to have a position on them.
Yeah.
But it seems pretty clear that the whole point is to just undermine everything that helps people and just send it all to the military, which is kind of, you know, you think like, what are you left defending if you don't have any people you're providing any services to, you're not helping anyone.
Because that money has
I
to
don't know
come.
whether, but I think, you know, that needs to be opposed. I mean, we don't need more defense budget. I don't think, does she
Yeah.
have any position on that?
Well, our legislative director was just talking about that there aren't the specifics yet to
Okay.
oppose. I mean, in general, yep, she would want to oppose anything that takes money away from entitlements to, you know, to add to the military. She's supportive of the military as well, but not at the expense of our seniors and those who really need
Sure.
the support.
What is being done? I mean, we have the best army in the world. Everybody says that. Why isn't someone saying, look, we have the greatest army in the world. Why are we sending them more money? What is the advantage of that? Is someone like talking to people about the underlying issue?
Well, I don't think they've gotten the new administration's
We're
reason
waiting on
for that
more
yet.
information.
So maybe next week we'll have more info.
It's also worth noting that, and I didn't read the full story, so I don't have all the details, but a bunch of retired generals came out and said, you can't stop funding humanitarian aid and diplomacy programs, which he has threatened to do, because it's like chocolate macadamia nuts
Yeah.
on a much larger scale.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really important point.
Well, I guess my point is we have to keep educating. I mean, if people don't listen, but eventually they'll listen when they start losing their
Right.
Social Security, when they start losing their
yeah.
Medi-Cal, when they lose ACA, and it's a real issue that they don't have insurance anymore. And I think we have to always be trying to educate the Trump voters.
Yep.
And I'm just hoping that we keep looking at how to do that.
Yep.
And keep reminding them that, you know, that they are the beneficiaries of these programs.
Anybody want to add anything? I feel like